Hi, I'm Dennis Young, and I'm the proprietor and artist painter in Old Newcastle at Mozart Gallery, where I feature all of my original oil paintings and pastel paintings. So today I want to show you how I enjoy seeing the magic of applying varnish to a dry painting. And I'm going to start today with a painting of Father Christmas, which was done in December of last year. And the model was Mark Batty, who was a resident and an iconic figure in Old Newcastle. So I painted Mark and used an oil paint for all of this, and it's dry to the touch now and ready to be varnished. And I want to show you the difference between the finished painting before the varnish and afterwards. So as you can see now, as I move it with the light, it's fairly flat. There's a little bit of gloss in some areas, but it's a little on the dull side, but that's because the canvas has absorbed most of the oil from the original oil paint, and that leaves a lot of dry pigment showing. So when I apply the varnish to it, that's going to help to make it sparkle, kind of lift off the canvas and come alive. Generally, there are two kinds of varnish that I use. My preferred one is Winsor Newton, which is a artist gloss varnish, and the one I'll be using today. This generally should be applied to a painting after it's had a chance to mature and really be dry. For paintings that are applied thickly or with a palette knife, that'd be anywhere from 6 months to a year or even longer before the varnishing, because applying a varnish to a painting that's not sufficiently dry may cause some of the paint to dissolve and to smear. The other varnish is made by Gamblin, which is called Gamvar, and this varnish can be applied generally fairly safely to a painting that's dry to the touch. So this actually could have probably been varnished about 3 to 4 weeks after I finished it with the Gamvar. But because I kind of prefer the little bit more of the sheen to the Winsor Newton, I've let it dry a little bit longer, and I'm going to show you now using the Winsor Newton, applying with a soft brush, what this looks like and how it comes alive. So I want to apply it thinly and put strokes side by side, up and down. You can always come back later on and apply another coat to it. But if I put too much of the varnish on, I may want to give this a little support. Yeah, if you apply the varnish too thickly, it'll have a tendency to run and maybe even bubble. But that can be helped out and resolved if you take a dry paintbrush and go back over again to kind of thin out the varnish, or if you take an old clean, or I guess it's not too old if it's clean, a t-shirt, and just wipe off the varnish and reapply. Now, the nice thing about varnish is that it helps to protect the painting from the elements, and those elements can be, say, in a house where there's cooking going on, smoke or oils, minute droplets of oils that may be deposited, or in other places maybe where there, especially in public, where there might be still smoking that's allowed, and also helps against other environmental pollutants, like especially if you're near a train derailment in Ohio. So let me show you what this looks like by now after the varnish has been applied, and you can see that nice sheen. Now, this is a wet varnish, and so it looks wetter than what it's going to look like when it dries. When it dries, it'll be just very, very glossy and very attractive and ready to frame. And this is going to be dry in about 12 hours to certainly by a day, and really make the painting look beautiful in its frame and more acceptable to its owner. This is going to go to Mark in a couple of days, and I think he'll be happy with it. So, if you're ever in Old Newcastle, Delaware, and strolling past the historic district and the courthouse, stop in at my gallery, Mozart Gallery, at the corner of 2nd Street and Delaware Street, and I'll be glad to show you around the gallery with all the paintings that I have here, including more portraits of iconic people around Newcastle and very attractive other models. So, thanks for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this, and happy painting to you. Bye-bye.